Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, my family. Hello, my friends. Hello, how are you doing on this Wednesday? You have tuned into the Power of Transformation broadcast. I am your hostess. I am Dr. Paula Obi. And I love to tell you what day it is and what time it is. So it is April the 2nd, 2025. And it's 7 o'clock on the East Coast. And yes, as I said before, you've tuned into the Power of Transformation with Dr. Paula Obi, where we have inspiring and wonderful confirmations. We have guests, we have heart to heart conversations. And on tonight, we have a very special guest. And we're just extending our discussion of our Celebrating Women's Month because I really wanted to talk to her about her amazing mom. All right, so let me tell you what we're going to do. We do the same thing every week, but in case you're new, I want you to grab your phone. We want you to send a text and we want you to tag someone and we want you to tell them that the Power of Transformation broadcast is on with Dr. Paula Obi and they do not want to miss it. Now, if you have a moment, you can give them a call, but if you don't have a moment to give them a call, just come on back. And when I tell you to do something, I do the same thing. And we're going to see you in just a few minutes. Take care. Okay, so we're back, and I'm ready to introduce to you my special guest tonight. I'm so excited because I met her a few years ago, and her godmother and me, we were just the best of friends. So we talked about her goddaughter, and she absolutely loved her goddaughter. So I'm going to bring her in. We're talking about Minister Dawn Barnes, and we're going to have such a great conversation. So, Minister Barnes, will you just come in and join us?
Hello. Hello.
I'm so glad that you were able to join us. We're celebrating Women's Month, and there's so many things we could say about all the wonderful women in our lives. Definitely your godmother, but I want to talk about someone even closer to you than your godmother. And that's because I knew about her. I was around her for a while, and that is your mother. I absolutely love her. Look at that picture. Go ahead.
Oh,
Isn't that
yes.
great? And they used to call her the queen because girl was always dressed from the head to the toe to the fingers.
Yes.
Everything was always in order and matching. She was just Divaville.
Yes.
I just love her. Let's talk about her just a little bit, Dawn. Talk to me about her.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on the show tonight. My mom would be elated. She would be on the front trying to get in and be a part. And just so grateful to you for having me on. My mom was definitely my shero.
Yes.
She was everything to me.
Yes.
And I remember, she's shared so many things with me over life and over time. But I remember as a little girl, I had a brand new bicycle for Christmas, right? I didn't know how to ride the bicycle. My mom taught me how to ride my first bicycle. That's an impressive moment, right?
Yes.
She got on her bike, on my bike in our living room and showed me how to do it. And then she took me outside and put me on the bike and mimicked what she had showed me and stayed with me until I got it. I will never forget that. She was the first person to teach me how to ride my brand new bike. And I knew from then on, my mom could teach me anything and I would be okay.
There you go.
At that time. So I'm just glad to be up here. I look forward to talking about her more and sharing more about her. And I am who I am because how awesome she was.
Because she created the foundation. Now we need to forget you. We took away her name, so we're going to have to give us her title and her name.
Okay.
So who she is. So we got so excited we took the name away.
My mom was definitely active in the church, and so she had two titles in her church. She was a deaconess
Yes.
as well as a missionary.
Yes.
And her name was Sandra Barnes.
Sandra Barnes.
So some people called her Missionary Barnes, and some people call her Deaconess. But she was more known as missionary because she was definitely a missionary. And her name, Sandra, means helper. How
Yeah.
fitting. How fitting was that for the lifestyle and the legacy that she left behind and she laid?
Absolutely. Now, look, can I tell you how? Can I tell you how I met her? And then we'll come back to you with your story.
Please, please.
I'm taking over. I had joined the church, and I was sitting in the middle, and she was over in the missionary part section, and I was sitting there. I was enjoying service, and when we got to a part of the service, she came sashaying over to me, the sashaying with those heels, and she was like, "Hi, Sister Paula." I'm like, "Hi." She said, "When is your birthday?"
Oh, wow.
So I told her my birthday, and she said, "Thank you." Then she went sashaying back over to her seat. I'm like, "That's cool." But what I loved was within 1 month before my birthday, she brought to me one of the most beautiful cards. And she brought it to me right before service. So here I am looking at the card, crying and weeping and crying. Because when people care about you enough to give you something, and
Yes.
don't you know she had little love, monetary love in there too?
Yes.
I'm like, she does not know me.
Yes.
But her love for me, we had an instant bond. And I think I got cards from her every month, and they were so meaningful. And I thought, there you go. That's the queen.
Mm-hmm. That's the queen.
And of course, on my birthday, I got a little bit more love, but it was beautiful. I was impressed.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's a sweet story. And I'm telling you, so many people experience that love from her. So my mom loved birthdays, and she has passed that on to me. I love birthdays. My mom started a birthday club before there was a birthday club. Now we have birthday clubs. My mom started that at her church, Deliverance Cathedral of Love. Pastor Bishop M.S. Nesbitt. She just wanted to make sure that everyone was touched on their birthday. So she started a birthday club where she got everyone's birthday, not just in our local church, but the surrounding churches that also were a part of our fellowship. And she would send the cards out just in time to make sure you received your birthday card on time. My mother did that for years. And as a result of that, people, even on her day, on her funeral, people were talking about that birthday card. Yes. And how much it meant, and who's going to continue it. And I mean, how do we follow in her footsteps just with the birthday card? So yeah, she did so many small things like that grew to be extremely huge and impactful.
They were small, but they were impactful. There you are. There were small things, and there were things that meant a lot to me. I kept all of mine until I moved. Lord knows, who knows where the box is, but I kept them all because the words were always so important. But for someone to just remember your birthday, and everybody in the church, you remembered everybody's birthday. Everybody had the same conversation. Like I have been. She's been remembering my birthday for years, so it just made me happy to be around someone who cared about us.
Wow. In that way. I heard so. I mean, when you live with someone and you grow up with someone, you don't always get to see the fruit of their labor because you see them every day. Like I didn't see her mailing out the birthday cards. I didn't even know she was really doing that until she passed away and everybody was talking about it. But she has done so many things for people and helping people that are still coming up now. Just a phenomenal woman who really had a heart for people.
She was born a missionary.
She was born a missionary.
She had a love for people. And she was always smiling and just that warm personality. And I talked about it, a little bit yesterday about how if we want people to come back, then guess what? you have to be warm. You have to be
That's right.
loving. You have to be kind. And there probably were so many folks who returned to that,
Wow.
environment because of her. And
Wow.
she was the one where everybody would go say hello to. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You
You're
always have to
right.
go say hello to her.
Right. Right. And she was always dressed, honey.
Oh my God.
Dressed to the nine.
From the top of the head to the toes and everything in between. You could not
Yes.
touch the wardrobe. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
who she is, but that's a dressing woman right there.
She loved to shop. I mean, she was known for that. She loved to shop. And you know what? My mom did not spend a lot of money when she went shopping. She knew how to find sales. She knew how to purchase during the off season, and then she would bring it back in season. I mean, just a thrifty shopper, but always, always, always was super fly. And she never spent much money. I was like, Mom,
Always
how did you even get that? She was like, oh, I got that 3 months ago. Okay.
So nonchalant.
Yeah, nonchalant.
And it was amazing because I don't even know if I ever saw her wear the same thing twice.
Probably not.
And the pocketbook and the shoes were matching. And there were sometimes with the gloves, I'm like, girl, I bow.
Yeah. My sister always tell me, it's just two of us. My sister's married, and she always tell me, you're just like your mom. Yeah. So when you said my mom was sashaying across the church, that was truly her. And my sister always say, oh, you're so girly like your mother. But she just, I mean, she loved her children, right? And she was a mother that really took care of us and really made sure that she laid the foundation so that we could, when we grow up and when we moved on in life, we had something to hold on to. And so that was important to her. It was important for her to stay home and not work a job. So my father allowed that. And she made sure we ate breakfast every morning. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I still eat breakfast every morning. That's an important meal to me. The other meals I can wait on, but breakfast I have. But that's how she trained us and she taught us. And we used to get we would go to school. So you know how my mom dressed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So she embarrassed us because she dressed us like that for school.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Did anybody take pictures?
I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. So oh my God, Mom. So she truly embarrassed us, but we had all of the different barrettes to match our skirts and our blouse and the shoes. And I think at that time they were called stockings or leotards or whatever. Yeah. I was like, Mom, I could not wait until I made it to high school so I didn't have to dress like
But you know what? So, it's amazing because she was like, if I'm going to be the queen, my princesses are going to be like me.
Oh, my goodness. And she thinks that she would make my sister and I do, because I'm referencing this because you talked about how she sashayed through the church, right?
Oh, yeah.
So my sister and I, every day, we would have to practice walking properly with a book on our head.
Oh, my goodness.
To make sure our posture was correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to this day, I still walk with my head up. And somebody said it. Somebody was laughing one day and said, why do you walk with your head up all the time? I'm like, that's how I was raised.
That's how you were trained.
But she really thought it was important that we presented well, we looked well, we spoke well, and we carried ourselves as a little lady. I had all the gloves, all the different colors, the lace, all of that. Mm-hmm, because it was important to her to lay that foundation for my sister and I as young ladies to grow into beautiful women.
And for me to say sashay, that means it was a distinctive walk.
Amen.
I mean, it was several feet and she just walked over and then she walked back. And if she got up to walk again, it was the same walk. Very distinctive. Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud because we need role models like that. Yeah. We really do. We need people that will pour into us. So from that time, what has caused you to springboard to now? Because you kind of like the fly girl,
Well, thank you.
and you've been
Thank
doing some
you.
great things, you know. So
Thank you.
let's talk about how
Thank
you might
you.
be a chip off the block here. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, my mom, the, the the moment that I think about most that I can really say has helped me now is in her last months of battling with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
She was so strong. She was not afraid of death.
Wow.
She had no fear.
Wow.
And she spent many months talking to me about taking care of my family, which is my sister at that time, sister, my nephew, and to never give up on my dreams and my ministry. And those conversations are what I hold on to today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that is what has helped me. I'm a cancer survivor, kidney cancer survivor, had to have my kidney removed.
Wow.
At the time of that, it was very hard, it was very difficult. But I remembered my mom was an 8-year cancer fighter.
Wow.
She started her battle in stage 4,
Wow.
and she lived 8 years later. And she never complained. And
Mm.
and I know it was tough because she did chemo and she did radiation. She did all of those things. She never complained. She would always remind me that God is in control.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
through heartaches and disappointments and all of the trials and tribulations that she experienced her last couple of years, she never complained. And that is why I am who I am today, because I had a role model to see how to go through tough times, how to
Yes.
embrace death with courage,
Yes. And
how
they
to be strong in the midst of a divorce, how to deal with embarrassment when the family was falling apart. She kept her head up high and she knew that God was going to answer her very prayer. And he did.
And he did. And she kept that smile on her face. You
Yes.
brought back a memory because there were several memories, but you brought back a memory where they had gone to visit her in the hospital
Mhm.
and they were laughing because she dressed up.
Yes.
She knew they were coming and she dressed up. She dressed up for everybody. Then they with her
Listen.
head on and everything. Somebody took a picture and everything
Yeah.
in the hospital bed.
That was her. That was her. She never wore a hospital gown. That's a no-no. If I knew that they were keeping her, we had to bring certain gowns and robes and slippers. I mean, not just regular slippers. These are shiny slippers and leopard print. I mean, that was just who she was.
I
And
love it.
she's such a humble woman. Never haughty, humble.
Very, 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 very humble.
Humble.
And that's what's so beautiful about someone who is humble, but they have that queendom, but they're
Yes.
humble about it. You don't
Humble.
find that often, and you don't find that in everyone. But
No.
what an impact she's made! Now, I was just around, but to be in the family, I'm sure that's just amazing to have those memories. And now you've been able to go further, standing on that foundation, standing on the words, because now we're the legacy.
We're the legacy. Yes. Yes, we're the legacy.
We're the legacy. And I was talking about that just the other day of how I still remember the words that my mom said to me, the last 2 weeks of being in the hospital. She did this crash course.
Yeah.
They start telling you things.
They start telling you. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to hear this. I don't know if I want to hear this. But
right.
But they're preparing you, and I still hear those words.
Yes.
And it built the foundation. Be strong. All of those things that she said, just like you're saying. And look where you are.
Yes.
It was a seed.
It's a seed.
And it was planted in fertile ground.
Yes.
Look at you, Dawn. hanging out in a big city.
Hanging out in a big
when
city.
I was there, for some reason, I don't know if you were there when I was there, but I didn't look you up. But I knew that you were doing well because of your godmother, and I was happy.
Yes.
Happy for you.
And Denise, my godmother, was just such strength for me during the loss of my mom, during her passing. And she would just continue to remind me, you can do this. Because my mom, my everything. I mean, she was my best friend, a role model, Shiro. She's my angel even now. She's always been everything to me. And you know, at the end, when after she passed away, I had a rough time.
Yeah.
You know, it was hard for me. I went through a really low moment because I really know how I could make it with her.
Right.
And she came back to me one day when I was in my. Now she scared me because I wasn't expecting that. Like, Mom, you could have you could have did this. Right. Now it scared me. I turned on every light in the house. But I needed her to come back, and she came back to me, and I've never shared this live, but she came back to me and she says, Dawn, I'm happy. And she had on this beautiful white flowing gown. And she was just dancing around. You know how she used to dance at the church.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say. I remember.
You know how she used to dance at the church. She was just dancing around and sheepy. And these are the words that I live on today. She looked at me and she said, get up and live. Wow. Get up. In that mother voice. Get up and live because I'm happy. And she just, and those were the words that kicked me out of depression, that kicked me from just giving up. And I started getting myself together, and I started coming alive again. And I started becoming the person that she always raised me to be. But it was those, I will never forget it. She says, get up and live. And I am happy.
What an amazing story. Boy, that tell you that just gives me some hope.
Yes.
It tells me a whole lot about the love.
Yes.
That does not end.
It does not end.
And now they're angels, but they're watching over
yes.
you. And they know when they need to speak to you because maybe you've gotten stuck.
Right.
And that's their job. Now that they're guardian angels, that's their job.
Yeah. She know her daughter. She knew could nobody do it but her. And so she had to come back. Like, let me get this girl together. Because I was sinking. I was like, ah. And the other thing that she did that was so powerful is my mom. I mean, she just did so many small things that became so big. So I guess my mom knew out of my sister and I would need more help. My mom put in place therapy for my sister and I for a whole year.
I told you she was a phenomenal woman. I told look, I'm telling you.
A whole year.
I'm telling everybody else, she was phenomenal.
Whole year. And the therapist called me once she passed away and says, your mom would like for you to come see me. She has already taken care of it for a whole year. I was like, what?
She was phenomenal.
So just small things like that are huge.
Very much so.
And I'm going
to say this
left me.
A lot of people, in our environment, our church environment, didn't even believe in counseling.
Right.
Grief counseling. What's that?
Right.
What's that? Just go over in the corner and sit down and be still. That was their,
just pray about it.
And I'm in addition to the prayer, and I'm so grateful that her vision for you and your sister included that kind of assistance. I didn't get it till much later, so I was, much crazed by the time I had a whole lot of layers to dig through. But that just encourages me. She was one of a kind.
She left a strong life insurance policy because she didn't want us to suffer.
Wow.
She left therapy because she didn't want us to be crazy. We needed somebody to talk to. We needed someone to get through that journey. She knew we would need help. And those things are important. As we're walking this life, if we want to help somebody that we're leaving behind, those are the things that you want to do.
Those are the things you want to do. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And so that foundation and that role model was what you now have been sharing with someone else. When someone
Absolutely.
loses a mother, I'm 9 times out of 10 the very first person they will call if they know
Mm,
my story,
mm,
because they know that I'm going to resonate with that spirit.
yes.
And they're going to ask me how I made it, and I'm going to tell them.
Yes.
I'm going to share. And I'm
Mhm.
grateful for these stories because this is the love that our mothers showed when they needed it, and
Yeah.
now they're showing as our guardian angels. I don't
Yes.
even want to talk about the times when she had to come back to me and peel me off the wall. you know, but that's their job. That's their job.
Yeah.
I was an
Yeah.
only girl. I had no sisters.
Oh.
I
Oh,
was the
wow.
female in the family, so she knew she had to come and get and grab me because I was going down like in sinking sand.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm
That's
grateful
right.
for the dreams, and I'm
Yes.
grateful for the conversations, and I'm grateful that I just did not give up, and neither did you.
I did not.
That's why we celebrate them.
Yes. I
They're
did
our
not.
unsung heroes.
Yes, absolutely. And her homegoing service was a perfect example of the life of an unsung hero.
Yes.
There were people there from all over the United States. I
Everybody.
mean, there were so many people there that people were outside standing up wanting to come in.
Yes.
And the service was non-traditional because her lifestyle touched so many people across so many different eras, so many different ages, little kids, adults, seniors. I mean, even her doctor came to her homegoing service, in which he doesn't do a lot, but she made such an impact everywhere she went,
A
and
good a good
a
impact.
good positive impact.
Mhm.
Even in the rehab where she died, the people knew her. She was like the mayor. Now she's a quiet lady, but she's a powerful lady. But she was like the mayor of the rehab. Apparently, she was giving gifts to them too.
I'm sure she was. And she was a giver.
Yeah,
Loved to give gifts, and she would do it.
yeah.
So she said, "Well, here, darling, happy birthday." And you're looking like, and I don't know if one time, I don't know if I'm making this up or not, but it came back. She said, "Well, don't open it in here."
She probably did say
Don't,
that. She always
don't
wants you
open.
to have a private moment.
Yeah, don't open. Just put the
Yeah.
food first. Put it first.
Hmm.
I love these memories. Let me tell you something. I call these precious memories.
Mm,
I call them important to my ability and your ability to be able to shine because of them.
absolutely.
That's why we're here. That's how we got here.
How we got here.
Look, their blood is not just the blood running through our veins, but their personality and what they put into us. My
Yeah.
mom only had 11 years
Wow.
with me. She had to do a
Mm,
lot of work before she left here.
mm.
A lot. But I still remember. Now you had yours a little longer, but
I
that's
did.
okay.
My mom, she didn't talk hard or strong, but when she spoke, you listened.
Yes.
So my dad was a disciplinarian in the home. But when something really needed to get done, mom stepped in. I wasn't afraid of my dad. I was scared of my mom because she knew what to do to get you corrected and to get you in place. And I remember one time it was a holiday season and there was a family that didn't have Thanksgiving dinner. And my dad talks about this sometimes, and sometimes in some of his sermons. My mother, because she did two or three of everything. At Christmas, we had 3 Christmas trees. For dinner, we would have ham and chicken and turkey, and she just always did a lot. She took half of our meal. It was a worry. She took half when she found out that that family didn't have anything. She took half of our meal and delivered it to that family so that they also could have Thanksgiving dinner.
I believe it.
I mean, it wasn't planned. When she found out about it, they're making some changes. And the next thing we knew, my dad was going out the house to somebody's house to deliver some food.
I
so
believe
that they can have a dinner. That's just unheard of. People just don't do that anymore.
she was one of a kind. And I mean, and I'm being serious. When you walked in the church and she was sitting in the pew, your head would go up because her presence was so
Mm,
huge.
wow.
And when she turned her head and smiled and waved,
Right. Right.
she just had a great purpose in this
Yes.
world. And I'm so glad that I was able to have just a little bit of her time.
Mm.
Not much, but I remember saying, I kind of want to be like her.
Oh,
Definitely want to
wow.
definitely want to dress like her.
Right.
Definitely that with the
Right.
shoes. That was very nice. But her personality as a Christian woman
Yes.
was someone I wanted to emulate because I did not want to emulate everyone. I will tell you that right
Right.
now. This is my
Right.
show. Some of
Right.
you,
Mm.
no, but she was on the yes list.
Yes.
Genuine, real, just that person that you will always remember, that woman of God.
Yes. And she was the same. Whatever you saw at church, she was that same person at home.
I believe it. I
She
believe
was
it.
the same. The
Yeah.
same person that would now when she would come to my school because I didn't do something right, everybody knew your mom is here. Your mom is here. Baby, she would show up at that school.
She raised her kids. She loved her
She would
kids.
show up at that school. You better act right, or you will be seeing her. But even at the school, she was the same. The
Mm-hmm.
teachers loved her, and I have relationships with teachers now because of my mother in her relationship with them.
Yeah, she was special.
Years later, I still
Mm-hmm.
have their telephone numbers and I still call them. I mean, we're friends
Yes, all
because
because
of my mom.
of your mom. Who
But
can say that? My mom was a social butterfly in the family, and she connected you all. That's wonderful.
right, because I was bad at school, so she had to get that straight.
She had to go take it. She said, "Let me go down here and take." Look, I remember when we used to have a little figure. Let me go down here and take care of my daughter.
That's right. That's right. But when she came and set it straight, I was too afraid. I said, well, let me get this together.
Yes,
But
yes,
even in times when it was tough for me, because there were tough times
absolutely.
going to college and then having difficult times like trying to pass statistics. I would get nervous. Mom, this is my second time taking this class. Do it again.
Right.
I took statistics 3 times because my mom said you're not going to give up. That was the last class I needed to get my undergraduate. And I was like, Mom, I can't do this anymore. And she says, yes, you can. And I took it again and I passed it with a B. It's those moments when you're at the end and you feel like you can't do it anymore. She would speak to my spirit. She would call me up. She would push me and she would help me cross over. And those are the moments that you live by because now I want to push somebody else over. I want to tell somebody else they can do it.
And now you know how. And you
And
know the
now I know
impact.
how.
And you can say, my mom pushed me,
Yes.
so now I can push someone else.
No was not an option. No, it's not an option.
I tell people my mom built the foundation. I'm not going to tell you all the components, but one of the things that she said to me that I am going to share because I think it's kind of funny, she would say, don't be like them. She said, don't be like them. And she called names.
Mm. Wow.
And I said, ooh, I thought she liked them. What she said was, don't mimic their behavior.
Yes.
That's what she meant. So it caused me to, for the rest of my life, go, I wonder what she meant. But when I became an adult,
right,
I understood what she meant. That being like women and their behavior and their character was not going to serve me well. And she was right. So those words are so important. What she said, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Yes, you can. Those words are important. There are a lot of people who do not hear those words.
Yes. And I'm telling you, they resonate with me. I mean, especially when I was in that cancer battle.
Yeah.
because I
Without
could just
her.
remember how she did
Without
it.
her. Yeah, without her.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
said, well, my mom did it. I can do it.
Yes, yes,
I can do this. Even
yes.
when I felt like I couldn't do it, I was like, I can do this
You can do
because
this.
I saw her do it with grace. And I said,
Absolutely.
I want to be just like my mom. I
Well, you
want to
have
go
done a
through
good
this
job.
with grace.
You
Thank
have done a
you.
good job of emulating her. Now,
Thank
now, now,
you.
I don't know what else you want to say about her, but I'm going to sit and let you talk for. We got about 3 more minutes. I'm just because
Ah,
there's so much that can be said. But when I think about the well-roundedness of this young lady, I'm going to call her a young lady. The beauty, the fashion diva, the minister's wife, the missionary, the deaconess, the shoulder to cry on. There's a long list in my mind, but she wasn't my mother. I'm talking like she might have been my mom. I'm gonna let the daughter speak.
my mother taught us to love one another. Love was important to her. Family was important to her. And she taught us to love family and to be there for family and to be forgiving and to not hold grudges. There are a lot of jokes on me because I don't hold grudges. You
Wow.
can do me so bad and I'll address it and deal with it, but I let that go because that's how my mom taught me.
Wow.
Don't hold grudges. People do things for many different reasons, and you never know what their story is or why they are responding that way. So
Okay.
love people because love is that thread that they're missing. That's that piece that they need. And
Hmm.
love will bring them back to where they need to be. And that's how she taught my sister and I love.
Wow.
Love was important to her. Love your church, love your family. Like I never church hopped and went to this church and went to that church. And no, my mother taught us stay at the church where you're at. And we would laugh. She says, the one thing about it, at least you know the devils that you're dealing with. And we would laugh.
Well, she's right about that.
She said, at least you
I'm
know the
sad about
devils that
that,
you're dealing with.
Missionary Mars. I'm always sad about that. Yes, yes, yes.
She said, at least you know the devils you're dealing with. But her point was be consistent
Be consistent.
and be still and
And grow.
stabilize yourself and grow.
And grow.
And because it's the challenges to help you grow. She never missed any of my, because, when I was younger, I did a lot of concerts and shows and promotions. And my mom was at every show that she could make it to until she started getting ill. My father and her would come. My family would support me. She was a great supporter. If I was in New York, if I was in Jersey, if I was in North Carolina, wherever I was, my mom was supporting me. And if she couldn't make it, she was on the phone with me for that event or before that event. So, I guess the one thing that I would say that means so much to me about my mom is her love.
Yes.
Her love.
Yes.
Everybody knows the story of the huge breakup that my mom experienced with her marriage, but it was love that brought it back even before she died. And the one thing she told me is love your father because he is your father. Whatever happened between me and him was between me and him. Love your father and allow him to come to my service because my dad was not welcome. She says, no, yes, he is. Allow him to come. I mean, they give you these last minute pointers before they cross over.
Oh yeah.
Allow your father to come to the service because he was your father. And me and him, we've already worked it out. And that's love.
That's love.
Love through divorce, love through pain, love through cancer. She was just love. She was the epitome of love. And she taught us how to shop. So I'm sure she's in heaven right now trying to
Directing,
shop.
yeah, directing the shopping spree for everybody that's coming up there looking like this.
Right.
I just
So,
love this. Now I know we're running out of time. I know. I'm going to get the signal in just a few minutes, but in the month of April, we're going to be talking about restoration
oh,
and and
wow.
and all kinds of things. And I always ask my guests this one question, which you don't have to, come back in the month of April unless you want to, but would you come back and join us in the future? Because we
Uh,
didn't even get to talk about all the things you're doing now
oh, wow.
because of her influence.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
sure that there are certain things that you're doing now that directly relate to how she set the foundation for you.
I would definitely come back. And the one thing that I'm doing now that she launched was I am a life insurance agent. And my mom was a life insurance agent. And when she was trying to get me to do it, I didn't want to do it.
Right.
But as time progressed, I changed my mind and I decided to try it. And that's because of her.
That's because of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're definitely going to have to
So I'll definitely come back.
We're going to have to come back. It's just so well. And then you got the purple thing going on. Purple's my favorite color. So
that's right.
I'm just really, really proud of, first of all, that I knew her for such a short period of time.
Yeah.
I'm really, really proud that you were able to talk about her. I want to know more about her. You should write a book or something, or start a podcast or something, or, just really put her out there, because I don't know many women who were like her.
Wow.
And in the church, I told somebody, if my mother could have birthed me in the church, she would have.
Wow.
But she was a special woman.
I look forward to talking about it because I am working on some things in honor of her. I'm working on some leadership things for youth, and I'm working on doing some youth centers and name them after her. And some scholarships. So I am definitely working on some things behind the scene to keep her legacy going.
One of a kind. All right. I'm so excited, and at this particular time, the Power Transformation train's been chugging along, happy, singing, but now I'm going to have to turn it around and bring it back into the station. And as I'm turning it around, I always say that this broadcast, the Power of Transformation, is based on an excerpt from Romans 12:2. To be transformed by the renewing of your mind, which is what she was doing with you the whole time. Renewing of your mind. And you have to trust the process in order for the transformation to take place. And now that we've completely run out of time, and I'm so thankful that you're going to be joining us again, Pastor Dawn, in the future. I want to tell everybody, I want you to look at this podcast more than once, because I'm sure that there's probably one person who will remind you maybe of missionary / deaconess Sandra Barnes. But if there is someone who shows you love, you show them love back.
Mm-hmm.
You forgive. That's her legacy. And Dawn is her legacy, and she'll be back to tell us more. And that's all I have for you tonight. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been definitely a privilege. You put a smile on my face because I'm seeing her and I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling love.
Oh, good. Right,
everybody. I'm so excited. Thank you, Pastor Dawn. We're going to see you next week at same time, same station. And we're going to talk a little bit more. And we're going to have Pastor Dawn back really soon. Good night, everybody. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Pastor.